The season on the line. Only 3 games remain. On the outside looking in. Every point matters. The push to the USL playoffs starts now. We're still a couple of weeks away from the start of the USL playoffs, but for SAFC, it's win or stay home. A 3-game homestand begins tonight here in San Antonio as they welcome Seattle Sounders FC 2 to town. It is a must-win situation for the home side. Lincoln Rose along with Lance Keys with you. And Lance, we look at this matchup. It is a SAFC team, one of 4 teams still in the hunt for 3 remaining spots in the Western Conference playoff race. But they need to get all 9 points over their next few home games.
Well, they've been a team of streaks so far this season. We've talked about that earlier. They win, they lose, they win, they lose. They're at a point now in the season where they have to win.
You take a look at the scenario there. Again, there are still 4 teams eligible for those final 3 spots remaining in the West. San Antonio FC must collect all 9 points available to them down this home stretch here in San Antonio. They need those full 52 points, and even if they can get to 52, they will need some help along the way. Of course, they came up short most recently in a trip to St. Louis. That did not help their effort. Essentially a 6-point match going the way of St. Louis. They also need some help perhaps from the Swope Park Rangers and Reno as well. We'll keep an eye on their matchups today. So we take a look at the big picture in the standings with the top 8 teams in the West, just like SAFC a year ago, able to make it into the USL playoff hunt. And again, to confirm those spots, 5 of them have been locked up there. Orange County, Phoenix Rising, Real Monarchs, Sacramento, Portland, all know that they are headed to the postseason. Swope Park Rangers feel pretty good about their opportunities. Of course, Reno still has a couple games in hand.
Absolutely. There's a lot of work to be done. You look at the last couple of weeks, over the last few matches that they've played, they have not been able to get some of those critical points on the road that they really needed to get. And so they put themselves in a position now where, as you said, they're on the outside looking in. They're sitting in that 9th position, and they just have to have a lot of help from the teams above them. But none of that matters if they don't do what they have to do here at home.
Yeah, controlling what is in front of you. Well, it has been a wave of emotions this final couple of months for San Antonio. A 4-match losing streak, a 4-match winning streak. 3 losses, 3 wins. What we do know is they got an injection, a little bit of health with the addition of Lance Lang from FC Cincinnati.
Lance Lang has been fantastic since he arrived. You think about those first few matches, I think he was a goal and assist in each of those first 3 matches. He was such a bright spot in the attack on that left-hand side. He was great for Greg Cochran, who was able to get up and down that line quite often and really collaborate and combine with him. And they created a lot of offensive opportunity there through Lance Lang.
The early minutes, finding early goals has been the difference this year between wins and losses for San Antonio. If they find an early goal, look for it to be from number 7 these days in the red and black. And, of course, across the way for Seattle, it's all about, well, you almost need them to wear name tags when you're putting your lineup together. We have not seen now through 30 matches the same 11 men out there at the same time. That continues today. Daniel Leyva makes his debut from the academy for Seattle.
They're a team that's very, very young across the board, and this is a great example of it. This young man coming out here tonight, I think you said the 48th player now to suit up for this side over the course of the season. And the dynamics there are very difficult. If you're the manager and you're trying to manage that week to week, not necessarily knowing who you're going to have to be able to put onto your first 11, there's a challenge in that. And there's a challenge to play in that setting too, because you don't know who's going to be alongside you. We're used to here in San Antonio seeing the same guys more or less week in and week out. So a very different dynamic, but building up that youth group there in Seattle and doing a great job of it. And again, here, 48 players over the course of the roster.
You don't envy SAFC. They are up against a team with literally nothing to lose. Seattle already eliminated from the playoff push, but a lot of room still to develop these young men. They're looking for their first road victory, something that they can take home and hang their hat on and continue to build upon if they can knock off San Antonio and end SAFC's hopes right here in the Alamo City. We'll step aside here on Fox Sports Southwest. When we come back, we'll check in with the 3rd member of our broadcast crew on your Rosales for the first time today. SAFC S2 colliding tonight in the Alamo City. 3 points on the line.
When it needs to be ultra exciting, high flying, non-stop action. San Antonio FC Soccer's got you covered. When it needs to be high-performing, hard-working, high-tech, super safe, built for comfort, and surprisingly affordable, Holt Cat has got you covered. With best-in-class cat-heavy equipment, engines, generators, and more, plus legendary service and support, and the largest parts inventory and distribution network in Texas. Kick it into high gear with Holt Cat.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. Tonight's a special match for SAFC defender Greg Cochran, who's appearing in his 100th match for the club. He played in the first 42 matches consecutively for SAFC, which means he played and started in every single match in the 2016 inaugural season. And he's played 91.8 of his minutes in all SAFC matches and has notched 8 assists overall and was part of SAFC's league best defense in 2017. He found himself wearing the captain's armband a lot this season, and rightfully so. Head coach Darren Powell said Cochran's come in from day one and has brought a level of consistency in not just his play, but his attitude and effort are very reliable every day. I've asked Cochran about his style of leadership, and he says he's a lead-by-example kind of guy, and that it starts with the little things. He brings his lunch pail every day to focus on a proper diet and make sure to have adequate rest and recovery, and he stresses that that's the importance of taking those things seriously in life as a whole and not just for matches and practices. Basically, Cochran's an athlete who just gets it. He was told no a lot growing up because of his size, but he didn't let it turn him away from the sport. He takes care of his body and works relentlessly because he doesn't want to take advantage of his playing time here. And get this, he got his MBA this year. In the last 2 seasons, he was taking classes and being this leader for the club. So if that doesn't impress you, I don't know what will. Back up to you guys.
Thanks. It's like a smart thing. What's the weather?
Sunny. Perfect chicken eating weather.
How'd you get in here?
It's time for chicken.
What's the traffic like?
Rerouting you to chicken.
Okay.
Hey, Calzo, order pizza.
Ordering chicken.
No, pizza.
Chicken.
Okay, chicken it is.
Chicken biscuits made fresh daily for breakfast.
Now that's smart.
Corner stores are proudly becoming Circle K, home of the Polar Pop Cup. That's right, you can enjoy any size Polar Pop Cup filled to the brim with your favorite flavor for just 79 cents at any corner store. Nothing stays cold longer, and the Polar Pop Cup is the best way to quench your thirst. Stay refreshed all day long for just 79 cents. Corner store, proudly becoming Circle K.
I've been an HEB truck driver for over 40 years and driven more than 3 million miles. I've seen a lot of wide open spaces and beautiful Texas places. It's the best job ever. All 700 of our friendly truck drivers are committed to getting fresh products to the store every single day. In fact, HEB drivers make more than 12,000 deliveries every week because Texas families need us, so we always deliver. This is the Delivered Fresh department at HEB. No store does more than my HEB.
When it needs to be ultra exciting, high flying, non-stop action, San Antonio FC Soccer's got you covered. When it needs to be high performing, hard working, high tech, super safe, Built for comfort and surprisingly affordable, Holt Cat has got you covered. With best-in-class cat-heavy equipment, engines, generators, and more, plus legendary service and support, and the largest parts inventory and distribution network in Texas. Kick it into high gear with Holt Cat.
Hispanic Heritage Night here at Toyota Field as San Antonio FC kicks off its first of 3 straight games at home to close out this USL regular season in a push for a berth in the playoffs. Welcome back. Take a look at the starting 11 for both sides. First up for the home side of San Antonio FC. And, well, just when Cesar Elizondo gets back, he picks up his yellow card accumulation last week. He is out, and, of course, Hernandez picked up the red against St. Louis. A few changes in the middle, but San Antonio at least is able to flex its great depth.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things that this team has been a little bit this season has been inconsistent. So you talk about Elizondo coming back, and he's already back out. But they have been able to acquire some depth over the course of the season. They've had some important players really step up. You see a Cyprian Hedrick who's really stepped up from a reserve role and has taken over that starting position, done fantastic. And they're just going to continue to try to build on that and make the most of these next 3 matches.
You heard Anya detail the story of Greg Cochran over the last 3 years, who maybe part-time USL, part-time NBA student, somehow found time for it all. Darnell King, of course, a new addition on the back line as well. And this was Greg Cochran. Now, he will still be number 20 on the roster, but he'll be able to take that one home. He's with Tim Holt, of course, president of San Antonio FC. And he epitomizes the San Antonio Spurs mentality, Spurs sports and entertainment, and, of course, what they expect out of SAFC, both on the field and, of course, in the community as well. He will be up against a talented but, of course, young Seattle Sounders FC 2 side that is currently 0 wins, 12 losses, and just 2 draws when away from the state of Washington. They're looking for their first road victory today, and they'll do it with Jacob Castro back in goal. It's just his second match between the pipes this year here in the USL.
That's what you come to expect when you see the Seattle 2 team. It's going to be a young team. It's going to be a little bit of a mix-up from what you saw in the last match. SAFC really, it's nice to look across the field and see some inexperience, but none of that really matters once the whistle's blown. They've got to come out and play. And Seattle, too, they're just playing for an opportunity to get promoted to the first team. So I expect them to come out and be very busy, dynamic, really looking to get forward in the wide areas and see what they can do here to the SAFC team on the road.
Most of the men wearing the green tonight are not eligible to vote in the midterm elections coming up this November. It is a young squad, as you'll have 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds flooding this lineup, and you just try to figure out how to match up against a team that you can't even scout very far in advance. This is the story for San Antonio. Not many teams could lose a Diego Restrepo and still be confident in what they have between the pipes with Matt Cardoni. What a story that has been over the past couple of years as each has had their time to shine. Stephen McCarthy still out with the upper body concerns. Ryan Felix on the back line, removed from your options as a defender, perhaps as a mid-match substitution. But there is Matt Cardoni, and there is his manager, the only manager that San Antonio FC has known now over these first 3 years. He's got Ryan Rushandel there, who might very well be a future manager in his own right, sitting next to him, the captain for SAFC. But you talk about Darren Powell, and he realizes, look, these first few minutes are critical. Finding that first goal has been the difference this year.
Yeah, when they've come out and they've started games well and they've dictated the rhythm of the match, they've put themselves in a good position to be able to manage it. But there have been those times, those matches, certainly on the road, there's been a number of those where they just haven't been sharp to start with. They put themselves down early and then having to claw all the way back. It makes it a very difficult 90 minutes to play when you find yourself playing down the majority of them.
Let's hope that's the only red we see from Laurent Varga here in this contest. San Antonio finished a man short at the end of that critical matchup against St. Louis the other night. And there is Ethan Bryant. What a splash he made in his debut earlier this summer with an assist early on to spark this team. And he is the promise that the academy here in San Antonio has. Darren Powell had so much to say about what Seattle has done as one of your marquee development programs, of course, up there in the great Northwest as we are underway. San Antonio FC in black and Seattle in their trademark green and blue, and a shot from distance looking for an early impact, but we remain scoreless here in less than 20 seconds of action. Cardoni watches it go wide. So we use that phrase, nothing to lose. Seattle looking to be a spoiler here on the road, picking up their first road win perhaps along the way. Just 2 points all year long in away matches. First early touch from Leyva.
Nice early on here for S2 as they defended that ball coming out of the SAFC back third. 2 lines of 3 up front with a line of 4 behind.
Another strike, this one from just inside 30, but Cardoni able to handle it.
So both of the early options from S2 from range, not really anything particularly dangerous for Matt Cardoni, but certainly for SAFC, they've got to come out, they've got to dictate the rhythm. This young S2 team is going to come out with enthusiasm. They're excited to be on the road. This is a great venue to play, and they're going to be feeding from that. And at this point, nothing to lose in the season, but lots to gain for each of them individually.
Cochran wearing that captain's armband tonight. And San Antonio will have a toss here in the offensive third. Deepest penetration so far in the early going for the home side. They'll tap it back to Hedrick. And a foul will set up a kick here for San Antonio. Quick tap from Lance Lang, again acquired late this season. Not many minutes for FC Cincinnati, and what a year they've had up there in Ohio. They've already locked up the best record for the regular season in the USL. Of course, they are in the East as the top seed. Lang trying to light a fire, cross over the far post. And a collision will send this ball back over to Seattle without any damage done.
A decent early ball in there from Lance Lang. What he's done so well since he's arrived is just get down that left-sided touch line and create scoring opportunities. There you see him overhit that ball to the far 6. Escalante coming in on the backside of that defender, called for the foul. But those types of balls in behind this S2 defensive line are going to be very, very important tonight for SAFC in terms of creating chances in and around the goal mouth.
Lang certainly just as capable of creating as he is finishing. Was a big part of San Antonio ending a losing streak and winning 3 in a row. But since then, a 3-match skid for San Antonio, coinciding with a road swing here late in the year. Looking for Lang. Just a tad heavy as it'll be scooped up by Castro. Jacob Castro, 1 full match in the USL this year, allowed 4 goals on 4 shots faced. I suspect some of those averages will plummet after tonight.
Good early patience from S2. Playing the system, trying to make good soccer decisions as these young players settle themselves in to this road match.
Almost a mistake by Castro.
Yeah, Castro got put in a tough spot there by his center defender. Played him a ball back under pressure. Didn't do particularly well with it. SAFC staying this in.
Pekka. Well, Pekka showed up this year as one of your newest additions in San Antonio. By now, he's one of the old names.
Yeah, Pekka's, listen, he's Mr. Consistent. You know what you're going to get from Pekka night in and night out. He's going to work his tail off both sides of the ball. He's creative when he has it. He works hard defensively. But they've missed him for a large part of the season.
Over the top opportunity. Darnell King will try to limit the angle for Leyva. And Leyva, for the first time this year, had a airplane ticket with his name on it printed out as he boarded the plane to San Antonio on Thursday with the rest of the team. And 48 different players have played for S2 this year. We have not seen the same lineup.
But that speaks a lot about the S2 system. We talked about that. You know, you talked about Darren Powell's reference to what they've done in terms of developing players. SAFC doing a lot of that on their own. Nick Evans running the youth academy there had a big result this weekend on the road in Dallas, beating the Solar. I believe it was the U15s, a great result. So SAFC doing very, very well in terms of creating that system. You see a player like Ethan Bryant coming out of that. It's important for the city and for the game in this city that they continue to develop those youth players. There's a lot of enthusiasm for the game here in the San Antonio community.
Of course, for Seattle these days, your manager is John Hutchinson. His first year as head coach after being promoted from assistant after joining Seattle a year ago. The Australian able to start a little pipeline to Australia. Brought in a couple of fellow countrymen. In fact, I had some family in Australia this past week. I asked them for a few non-touristy things for them to try to do, but besides the Sydney Opera House. Very helpful all around. Great to catch up with both managers here and get their thoughts on what could unfold on this Saturday evening. Seattle able to fire a couple Cardoni's way in the opening minute. San Antonio defensively starting to settle into things. That's the touch. Sends it up to Cochran. And Hedrick will let Cardoni get things back on the right path.
Good numbers around the ball there for S2. You're going to see them really be committed to keeping the ball, trying to build out of the back, something that's part of their system. We'll see that throughout the evening.
Seattle was in South Texas last weekend against RGV, fell behind early, did not really threaten to score throughout the match, and those are the words of their head coach John Hutchinson as he saw them fall by 2 goals. This is a S2 side that has blended players from Major League Soccer, the academy, as well as those directly on contract with the USL. They train throughout the week all together. It is really something to see the learning opportunities for these players, to have the coaches from all of the different levels working with them. And Ethan Bryant, one of the success stories early on. It's still a young academy program with San Antonio in the Pro Development Academy. He is still a full-time high school student here in San Antonio as Bryant. Still has the option to accept a college scholarship through the structure of this arrangement with SAFC. Escalante. Lopez and Lang. And Lang will have it taken off of his boot. And moments later now, we may see our first flash of color from Laurent Varga.
And they recovered that ball here on the edge of the third. A little bit of work from Escalante on the weak side. Played Mikey Lopez. Mikey really covered up Lance Lang there with his movement to come across. Couldn't really do much with it. And then in his effort to try to rectify the situation, comes through the back end.
Oh, and it's all said and done, no mustard there for Lopez. As you saw, a little extra effort onto the leg of Jesse Daly, able to pop back up. Daly is one of your 2 Australians. Didn't come from the Mariners like his head coach. He came from the Lions over there. They were able to set aside their differences, apparently, between those rivals.
Good to see some differences overcome.
Wrapping up with the 9th minute here at Toyota Field for San Antonio FC in its 3rd year in the USL. Lang, not his first go-round, competing here at Toyota Field. First time we saw him is back when he was with FC Edmonton, with a Canadian residence as a visiting player. Hedrick again will direct it back to Cardoni. Cardoni, the homegrown product in goal for San Antonio, went to non-scholarship Division III Trinity. Played for Coach McGinley.
I heard that place is all right, you know.
And his goalkeeper coach, here's a pretty good one, in Juan La Madrid.
Very good goalkeeper coach.
Same coach that SAFC uses.
That's right. Had a chance to see Matt Cardone play through his college years, and he's just grown and evolved so much as an athlete and as a goalkeeper in that time, and really under Juan La Madrid the entirety of that time.
Jalen Markey getting the start on that back line for Seattle after playing 55 minutes off the bench in their last outing. It's just Bryant looking at his options, has Lang out wide. Shot from 19 will go nowhere. As Seattle gives young Ethan no breathing room.
A great bit of movement on the left-hand side there from Lance Lang as he overlapped that carry of Ethan Bryant. Ethan just not able to get quite the space he needed. He just needed an extra half a yard to be able to get that off. Just on the edge of the box there, wasn't able to do it. Good pressure from the S2 defense.
And Ethan Bryant making his debut at 16 years old earlier this year. And I hate to do this to Rafa Castillo, but the veteran who is more than twice the age of Ethan Bryant is finally available off the bench tonight for Darren Powell if needed in the midfield.
It's great to see Rafa back on the bench after his injury. You just don't know what's going to happen at that stage of a player's career. But he's such a committed guy. He's such a committed athlete. He's a great piece of San Antonio soccer history, certainly over the last handful of years. It's great to see him back tonight.
Rafa's another guy, kind of like Greg Cochran, beloved in the community, but also can lace him up and play with anyone. Seattle looking for that first strike. Cochran will clear it out. San Antonio this year, when they find the first goal, they've done it 10 times so far, 7 victories and a draw to show for it with a couple of losses. Guzman. Oh, great pass to an open look from 18 yards out, but Seattle's back line does not let it through.
Well recovered there from Lance Lang. He's going to get fouled behind from Daniel Leyva, the young man making his first trip with S2, but a great bit of play to get in behind there. He cut it back to the top of the box. Mikey Lopez just doesn't connect with it. But Lance Lang keeps it in. A chance here from about 30 yards or so.
Lopez, the former UNC Tar Heel, still looking for his 4th goal on the campaign. And again, here's Lang, one of the best men to handle a free kick in a situation like this. He can put it in the back of the net with a little bit of English on that ball.
Yeah, he textures the ball very well. He's able to get it to go left to right quickly. Certainly what he's going to want to do here.
And off the wall, takes a deflection. It is a corner kick for San Antonio. First of the night for either side.
Probably the right decision here from Lang. He tries to go inside that far post. The distance, it's difficult to get that ball up and down from that range, from right in front of the goal. So he goes around the edge of the wall there, fortunate to get a deflection, now a corner, where he's normally very good with the service.
His left boot will handle this corner. Brought to you by Circle K. Top of the 6th, and Seattle with the first contact, but Lang with the rebound. And how much more composure do these young men have than you and I did at their age? They have been up against bigger, legitimately grown men all season long, but they can compete with the best of them.
It says a lot about the nature of what's going on in this country for this game, which is so important. To have a true youth development system and opportunity for these players, as you talked about, day in and day out in those training environments, to really be able to grow and develop their experience as professional footballers. And you're right, every day, every weekend, they're stepping out and playing against players that are much older than them, that have a lot more experience than they do. But they carry on. They don't use it as an excuse. They gain the experience and they get better from it. And kudos to them. It's great, just really, really good to see for these opportunities for these youth players.
The Haitian Denso Ulissi, one of the elder statesmen at 19 years old, playing in his 26th match, over 2,200 minutes this year. One of the constants for S2 this season. As he saw Alec Diaz making his first start, just his second appearance for S2 this year. Hedrick, the Texas native out of Friendswood from the Houston area. Played his college ball, Coastal Carolina. Lang trying to go the width of the pitch, but cannot link up.
Really a bad decision there from Lance Lang. Not only was it not the right ball, but then he didn't hit it well. That square ball across the back third there really creates an opportunity for a counterattack from S2. They weren't able to get it off because of really a poor service of their own, but just not a good decision there from Lang, something we're not used to seeing too often.
Back to Jalen Markey, the former Oregon State Beaver. Understandably, the majority of these young men in the academy are from Washington State. And looking to link up with the Haitian.
You see him trying to attack down these wide channels, and so far they've been relatively successful. They're finding space out there. I would even say that the SAFC back six has been a little bit disorganized early on, in particularly when they have the ball, when they're in possession. They're not taking up great starting positions to be able to manage that transition.
Again, the Australian Daly doing some dancing there a moment ago with Lance Lang. Back over to Cochran for the toss. Ethan Bryant, 8 matches, all starts now in his career.
A very good ball there from Cyprian Hedrick. Again, just not really able to find much sustained possession here for SAFC. Not able to dictate the rhythm of the game the way that they would like to. They've got to see the ball go through the middle of the park, through Pekka, through Ethan Bryant. Be able to bounce off of the number 9 and Ever Guzman, and then be able to get support around it.
Castro back to his line, could not get a paw on it, did not need to. Shot goes wide from San Antonio. As Escalante trying to bring all the fans to their feet here at Toyota Field.
Escalante does a great job there as he gets the ball out wide and goes 1v1 to beat that outside back and tries to tuck it in the far corner, just not able to pull it back and get it to move far enough to the right to tuck inside that far post, but a place where he's comfortable cutting across the face of goal in possession, using his left foot to go to the far post. There's a great chance there, and then a little bit of a mix-up there with Jacob Castro and his feet in possession. SAFC pick up a corner.
Well, we went a while without having to say Castro's name, and of course that's a good thing for Seattle. The business starting to pick up. Not a lot of room on that far corner. As SAFC will set up for the in-swinger right in front of, well, some of their favorite residents. As that ball from Lang never had a chance.
Well, he's got to beat the first defender there, get it up and over the top of that first defender to give his teammates a chance in the box.
Almost 18 minutes in. It's a night where SAFC must capture all 3 points to still be in the conversation of a playoff berth. A stark contrast from last year when SAFC right about now was locking up a home playoff match as the number 2 seed in the West. But Darren Powell knows if this team can get into that postseason, they can do some damage. It's a team that in the last month or so has knocked off the top teams in the West, but then some uncharacteristic struggles against the middle of the pack.
Yeah, as part of that streak they had before the 3 losses in a row, they did exactly that. It took off the top of the league, top of the division away, top of the division at home. Some great results, very important 3 points. Certainly grateful they picked up those 3 points because they'd be in a much worse position at this stage had they not.
Darren Powell arrived with Tim Holt. Opportunity for San Antonio as Lance Lang will delight the fans here at Toyota Field.
Whenever Guzman just jumped on a poor Jacob Castro goal kick, he just didn't catch it well. And knuckle Cheno Guzman brings it down on his chest and straight into the 18-yard box. An alert Lance Lang slips down the left-hand side and an unselfish play by Cheno Guzman.
San Antonio capitalizes on a mistake from Seattle.
Good smart movement here from Lance Lang as he gets down that left side and just gives an option for Cheno Guzman in case he doesn't like his finishing opportunity. In the end, he didn't, or felt it was a better option to play Lance Lang. Thankfully, he did. SAFC go up 1-0 in a very, very important match here at home for them.
4th goal on the year for Lang. And this is the 3rd assist from Guzman.
And through the first 25 minutes here, Lance Lang really hasn't been his sharp usual self that we've seen in the handful of games that he's been with SAFC. But a heads-up play to stay a part of that. And he puts him up 1-0.
Just the 11th time this year San Antonio has scored first, but what a difference it has made with regard to bringing home 3 points.
We'll see if this scenario has any contribution to the confidence of either the SAFC or the S2 team. A young S2 team on the road here late in the season. Not a whole lot to play for in terms of points and division standing. SAFC, the experienced side, can they ride that opportunity here to 3 points that they desperately need?
And the young captain for Seattle with a dangerous effort. Just some words for Opeo. As the Hawaiian makes his 21st start on the year.
Seems a little bit more energy here from SAFC.
They want goal number 2.
Absolutely. And you can sense that the S2 are feeling the pressure as well. Seem a little bit less settled in possession, a little less confident on the ball.
As El a little too aggressive with his hands for the native of Cameroon. The 20-year-old in his 2nd campaign here with S2 in the USL.
A dangerous area here for this in-swinging ball.
Just
the way Lance Lang hits it. Jacob Castro really going to have a tough situation on his hands. This ball is going to be dipping down onto his 6-yard box with players in front of him. If Lance Lang can catch it correctly, all it needs is a touch, really.
Put one in the back of the net 2 minutes ago, did Lang. Now trying to get his teammates involved. The flicked-on header from King will go high.
And really exactly the ball you want Lance Lang to hit. It arrived just on cue there, right at the top of the 6-yard box. It just needs a touch to redirect it onto frame. And on the frame it was, just off the top of the crossbar there from Darnell King.
Beyond the reach of Castro. Darnell King, one of those off-season additions this year, but he is a known quantity, and he has delivered exactly what they expected this year, an offensive-minded man on the back line.
He's been very good. You know, I think to give a little bit of balance to what Cochran brings on the left side, we've seen Darnell King do a lot of the same stuff on the right side. Greg, really more of an overlapping type outside back. Darnell King tends to get on the inside, but very dangerous in the final third.
Black stays down. Bryant from 18, and just not enough behind it as the ball rolled down his foot.
Yeah, not a bad little look. Maybe had a time to be able to get an extra touch there. Just push it in front of himself and hit this off the 2nd touch. Maybe not. But in the end, just didn't quite catch it cleanly.
As that ball goes unimpeded in touch, back over to San Antonio. And Darren Powell made his way from Orlando City SC's Pro Academy 3 years ago. Brought over by his old boss, Tim Holt. And unable to slip it through that back line of Seattle this time around. All or nothing for Castro there, as he had committed to the top of the 18, and that ball was not getting to him as quickly as he would have hoped.
Now Castro really misreads the flight of this ball. Mikey Lopez just plays it forward. Escalante comes back off to let Cheno Guzman come onto it, and he just reads it wrong. Found himself really in the middle of a very bad position and was fortunate not to be penalized for it.
A little give and go, just off the mark.
That's some of the combination play between Lance Lang and Cochran that we've seen that's helped SAFC to be so successful over the last month and knocking off a couple of those top teams in the league.
Wrapping up with the 25th minute, Lance Lang. The difference on the scoreboard right now. SAFC able to pounce on a miscue by Seattle. By the way, we won't be calling them Seattle for long. They have already taken up residence in Tacoma, a little ahead of schedule, and my understanding is they are going to be able to rebrand with some input from the fans in the region on a new name. Exciting times as they partner with the AAA ball club, the Rainiers, and have a great 5,000 seat facility on the horizon. Ball stays in play for Lang. Has Guzman inside the 18. Instead, it's Bryant drilling it home.
My goodness, what a finish, young fella. A great ball from Lance Lang. Cheno Guzman so dangerous between those two center backs, really occupied both of them and freed up the space for the young Ethan Bryant to be able to come right onto the end of it. And does he score a goal, ladies and gentlemen? What a finish.
The first professional scoring strike for Ethan Bryant.
Good patience here from Lang on the left-hand side. Whips that ball in with his left foot. You see it bending back away. And just 10 yards out, Ethan Bryant takes it out of the air right off the underside of the crossbar. Really nothing that Jacob Castro could have done about that.
That's worth celebrating with a soda later on tonight. And a flag will go up, a foul on San Antonio.
It's chocolate milk, I think.
Again, Ethan Bryant, right around 600 minutes now on his resume. He played 94 minutes plus against St. Louis a week ago. Came out in the final minute for Presley, but this is a young man that they have put a lot of confidence in, and he has very much earned every minute that he has played for the black and red.
I think he's taken his moments when he's not been in the lineup to learn. And that's what you have to do as a young player. I think in and amongst a setting like SAFC has, where there's a lot of experienced players, you got to earn that week in and week out, day in and day out. And why did he earn his opportunity tonight?
So this defense of San Antonio FC has insurance to work with. This is after they had struggled to score during that 3-game road swing. Only 1 goal compared to 6 conceded. A great start on an evening where San Antonio could not have even settled for a draw.
And the insurance is important. I think over the last few matches, we've seen SAFC give up some late goals, which certainly they don't want to be doing tonight. So the further that they can put themselves in front here against this young side, the better for them. We see Greg Cochran doing Greg Cochran stuff, getting on the left-hand side.
But here's the difference when you're playing against Seattle and you're up 2-0. It's not a Seattle team that's going to gamble like a lot of others. This is a group that is mindful. They're going to break a match down maybe into 5 or 10-minute segments and just continue to focus on playing those minutes as an aspect and an opportunity to develop these young men.
Well, that's what you have to do. Otherwise, you get caught up in the emotion of the game, don't you? So they've been very cerebral about it in terms of doing that. And that's exactly what they should be doing. This next 5 minutes, how do they manage being down 2-0? Going into the latter part of this first half, can they get one back in this next 5 minutes? And so that's really the way to manage it. That's the smart way to do it. And that's what helps to develop these young players within the context of the match.
Jesse Daly giving his final verbal warning. again, there you see the manager promoted from a year ago when it was his first campaign over in America as an assistant coach for Seattle. John Hutchinson, incidentally, recommends the bridge climb in Sydney if you have a day off. As Castro will haul this one in. Hutchinson, again, among those goals for Seattle is to see multiple players from this year's team find their way into MLS next year. But there's still something available to do in these next couple weeks, and that's find a road victory. That was a big agenda item for a team that has come up short on the road this year.
That's a team that's only seen 3 points in the last 8 matches since a 3-2 win over San Antonio in mid-August. Not the start they would have wanted to make this the night.
And right now, San Antonio can take their time and pick their opportunities. Cochran was pushing forward that time around, but no threat to Castro. And that was a match between San Antonio and Seattle where Asriel Gonzalez, who got the start in the midfield tonight, the Las Vegas native, made his debut at the USL level. The word debut has been thrown around quite a bit this season for Seattle and its academy. Cochran gives it away. As pushing forward, Vargas. They try to go right back and reward him. And Cardoni gets just enough of that right paw to redirect and then pounce on it.
Good defensive effort in transition there from Vargas on this right-hand side. Great ball across there. A favorable touch, but Matt Cardoni stays up, stays big, gets his right hand to it, and smothers it quickly to avoid the danger.
Able to shut down Marlon Vargas.
Great little ball from Hopeo there across the 18-yard box to Vargas as he got on the end of it.
Lance Lang, Ethan Bryant providing goals so far tonight for San Antonio here in the opening half.
We talk so much about the dangerous areas to score goals. You see both goals tonight coming off of a one-touch finish within the width of the 6-yard box, no further than 12 yards out. It's just such an important area to own as an attacking group.
From 30, never able to lift it off the carpet.
And the contrast is some of the chances that we've seen S2 try to create, many of them coming from 25, 30 yards out, just a much more difficult place to score, which is so important why you've got to be able to get wide servers to get balls into the box, get the back line turned, and that's what Lance Lang has done a lot of since he's arrived, and I think a big reason why he's seen the success in not only scoring goals but also creating.
Here's what I do like about Seattle with all this youth. If you have a talented young man, he doesn't feel like he needs to take a verbal back seat to an elder teammate out there on the pitch. Everyone else around you, your peers, people you can communicate with, don't feel like you have to hold anything back just out of respect.
And here you see them just continue to stay committed to the cause. This is what they do. They're going to play out of the back. They're going to be comfortable in possession. They might make some mistakes, but they're not going to shy away from trying to build out of the back the next opportunity. See them continue to turn to it, be patient.
And just got tangled up there at midfield as Pekka found himself with Asriel Gonzalez on his left leg. Gonzalez this year, 15th appearance. Half of those have been starts, a little over half now with his 8th appearance in the starting 11 tonight. Again, that debut came in Washington against San Antonio, and this will stay with SAFC. Tonight's match presented by Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Greg Cochran suiting up tonight for the 100th time in all competition, USL and US Open Cup for San Antonio. And that number 20, it's revered here in San Antonio.
He's just been such a big part of what they've done, the success that they've had here over the last couple of years. Mr. Consistency, we talked about Pekka being so consistent in his play. You know, if you're an SAFC fan, whether you turn it on the TV to watch him play away or whether you're showing up to watch him here at Toyota Field, you can almost guarantee he's going to be on the field.
As Cardoni sends it back up to the center circle.
Game of head tennis.
Over the top, flag stays down. And San Antonio there regardless.
Again, an SAFC caught sleeping a little bit in terms of their organization.
Oh, 50-50. And doing just enough to keep laying off that ball. Ulysses. Guzman already factoring in this opening half. Finds space. Bryant, could he double dip? Oh, they wanted to give it right back to him with Escalante, the tap right back to the teenager.
Like the idea from Escalante there, just a little heavy with his touchback. Probably had the time to set himself up for a finishing opportunity there on his favorite left foot. A good bit of play there from Cheno Guzman as he worked himself through a number of defenders to find himself in the edge of the box.
Two matches after tonight remain for San Antonio on the regular season. We mentioned both at home against Las Vegas as well as RGV, the big rivalry to cap off the regular season schedule. Seattle will have an additional match as they have Los Dos, Orange County, and then Colorado Springs switchbacks to close things out. As two of those next three matches at home. Their final chance for a road victory, if they come up short tonight, will be at Orange County, and of course that will be a tough task on a team already focused on a deep playoff run. Ball with Vargas. Vargas the last man to put one on frame when Cardoni was able to get up on it in time. Lang trying to link up with Escalante.
A nice idea there from Lance Lang to try to hit that diagonal ball in behind the S2 back line, but still pull it back into the run of Escalante. Just underhit it just the slightest amount.
Nick Hines intervened on that back line, former Akron Zip.
Uncomfortable touch from Matt Cardoni.
He's back on his line, gets a hand on it. It'll be a corner kick for Seattle.
Made up for it with a good save there.
San Antonio not in the clear just yet.
Vargas just continuing to stay on top of it, excuse me there.
Alec Diaz, just his second time to suit up, his first start for Seattle here in the USL, the academy player. Denied his first goal. Can Seattle cut this deficit in half before halftime? They had some opportunities in the opening minutes of this match. San Antonio survived and all of a sudden tilted the pitch. And able to squeeze two past Castro. First goal came right around the 20-minute mark. That from Lance Lang. Ethan Bryant would follow up with some insurance.
And you see the possession from S2. What we would expect to see from them. do such a good job of really opening things up in the attack. There you see Jesse Daly just working touchline to touchline, being that option there in the middle of the park. A little bit of a heavy service out to this right-hand side, but very systematic about the way they're playing.
A little friendly tap from behind will send Guzman to the pitch. Teenagers are not going to be bullied around. Almost another giveaway. Have to pass that with a purpose. And instead, this will be a goal kick. Want to boast about this pitch, how it has held up through the Texas summer. Now there will be a stretch you'll see every now and then right in front of the benches where I guess the fourth official has been so popular this year that there's been a little bit of wear, but in terms of the playing surface itself, it would be hard to find a better green this time of year. Again, flag stays down, looking for number 3. And at this point, they can afford to be picky.
Such a good early ball in there on that throw from the right touchline to get Cheno Guzman in behind. And as he gained possession there inside the 18-yard box, he just had no support. Difficult to imagine. That's one of the things I feel SAFC, when they go into the locker room here at halftime, they're going to have to get right on both sides of the ball. And it's just their commitment to staying organized in possession and defense, doing a better job of supporting each other in possession and defense. And ultimately, they should be taking over this game.
Flag is up. A reminder, Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, you can visit www.selectsportamerica.com. Receiving free shipping on all orders over $50. Right now, that ball at the feet of Cochran. And it stays in play with Vargas. Several options with the green tops. And that back line for San Antonio will hold. Of course, it is a back line that's had some moving parts this year for San Antonio, whether it be injuries or what have you. It has not been the same consistency that we saw a year ago when San Antonio proved to be the stingiest USL program in history.
Yeah, well, night in, night out last year, you could expect that you were going to see Cochran on the left-hand side. You were going to see Ibiaga and McCarthy centrally. And then it might be one or two players in a more of a rotation there on the right-hand side, but this year has not been the case.
If for no other reason, those last names on the back shoulders of these players was for the sake of the goalkeeper to keep up with who was who early on. Of course, Diego Restrepo had earned the starting job after Cardoni had been injured a year ago. Cardoni comes through this year, takes over the gig. And for the first time tonight, a reach into the pocket.
And a really nice bit of skill there from Ethan Bryant. Just in his end of the center circle. The Jesse Daly challenge that came in flying. He did such a nice job to spin out of, retain possession, had his head up ready to play. The referee was a little bit concerned about the intent of that tackle.
Mr. Varga with the flash of yellow after warning Jesse Daly a couple of times earlier tonight. Two minutes remaining here in the initial scheduled 45. Ethan Bryant, the most recent goal back in the 26th minute. And San Antonio just needed one more man to play with Guzman.
That's exactly where you want to find Cheno Guzman. Just in that space I referred to earlier, from the end line to the penalty spot within the width of the 6. He's so dangerous in there, playing off the shoulders of the two central defenders. A good early service in from Ethan Bryant, just a little bit high, wasn't able to convert.
Out wide, trying to get around Mike Seth on the back line for San Antonio. From 19 yards out, it's in. Seattle has cut this first half lead in half. They had knocked on the door a few times. Azriel Gonzalez made his USL debut against SAFC earlier this year and finds his first scoring strike now here in the Alamo City.
Cardone will be disappointed with the pressure on the ball there between Mike Seth and Mikey Lopez. Gonzalez just cuts back onto his right foot and doesn't even hit it cleanly. But it passes through two more SAFC defenders before reaching the far post. That would be a disappointing way to go into the locker room here for SAFC.
And why go into halftime trailing if you can level it up? They won't do it this time down as the captain called for the foul. As again, Hopeo with a couple of goals this year. 1 additional minute will be added free of charge here in the opening half. No substitutions for either side. Minimal delay. In a half in which we have seen 3 goals. And only the second meeting between these two teams in the West. Offside as the flag is up on 99.
He just was lingering there in that offside position, didn't make it back quite in time. Right decision there from the AR on the far touchline.
Guzman with those 3 caps earlier in his career with the Mexican national team. Well, they thought he would likely be the leading source of goal scoring. 5 goals in the preseason slate before the start of USL competition this year. And that's our final whistle of the opening 45. Anya Rosales will have a chance to catch up with Darren Powell. And let's go ahead and check in with Anya downstairs.
Thanks, guys. Coach, some good finishing there in that first 45 minutes of play. What do you see that you like out there, and what do you need to improve on in the second half?
I thought how we started with the tempo we were playing, the pace we were trying to dictate the game with. I thought we started well, but you know, after the second goal, we kind of eased up a little bit. So we need to make sure we maintain the right tempo throughout the game, throughout the half, and that's what we'll go and talk about in the locker room right now.
All right, thanks, Coach. Back up to you guys.
Anya, thank you very much. So Lance, it is, well, that other Lance who finds the scoring strike. Ethan Bryant provides insurance. They'll need it. It's a 2-1 halftime lead for San Antonio FC.
This bud's for the dream and the people bold enough to pursue it. For those who come from nothing and rise to something. It's for those who take everything this country has to offer and make it their own.
It all started with a vision and a mission to put customers first and treat employees with respect. Now, for more than 40 years, we have grown to serve people, businesses, and lenders, all while giving back to the communities where we live and work. For us, business as usual is about making a lasting impression on the lives of our customers, employees, and communities. We invite you to learn more about how we can help you with your story. SWBC.
Providing the fuel to take you there, no matter where there is. Top-tier quality fuels from Valero keep your engine running cleaner, better, and longer.
Dinner table. Entertainment center. Luxury box. The best tailgates make the best tailgate parties no matter how you use them. Hurry in now to the Toyota Tailgate event to get great deals on a new Tundra, Tacoma, or 4Runner.
Right now, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 72 months, plus a $2,000 special edition bonus on a new 2018 Tundra Crewmax Special Edition. Toyota, let's go places.
Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel invites you to come and play. Over 3,300 of your favorite slots, a private poker room, bingo, and live entertainment every weekend. Join the Players Club and play your way to greater rewards.
Come and play.
Hi, sports fans. I'm Jeff Davis, the San Antonio lawyer that's here for you. Some of you might be watching this game injured after a terrible accident. Did you suffer broken bones or have to have surgery? I want you to know that Davis Law Firm is here for you. And if you call us and you need us, we'll come to you during this game. And then we'll fight for justice and demand the cash settlement you deserve. Call me at 444-4444. That's 444-4444. Now, before we go back to the game, don't forget, there's only one number to remember, and that's 4.
Thanks. It's like a smart thing. What's the weather?
Sunny. Perfect chicken eating weather.
How'd you get in here?
It's time for chicken.
What's the traffic like?
Rerouting you to chicken.
Okay.
Hey, Calzo, order pizza.
Ordering chicken.
No, pizza.
Chicken.
Okay, chicken it is.
Chicken biscuits made fresh daily for breakfast.
Now that's smart.
Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel invites you to come and play. Over 3,300 of your favorite slots, a private poker room, bingo, and live entertainment every weekend. Join the Players Club and play your way to greater rewards.
Come and play.
San Antonio FC at halftime here at Toyota Field. First of 3 straight home games to close out the regular season, and right now on track for 3 points tonight if they can hold off Seattle Sounders FC2. Right now it's a 2-1 advantage. Lincoln Rose, Lance Key back with you. We take you back to the opening 45 minutes of play. And Lance, a little back and forth early on. Seattle actually had some momentum until a mistake that Ever Guzman is able to pounce on and set up Lance Lang.
Yeah, Cheno Guzman does a great job of just staying heads up, recognized it was a mishit service, commits the goalkeeper, slips in Lance Lang there on the weak side, who stayed a part of the play.
4th goal on the year for Lang, as he would give San Antonio the advantage, and of course he can distribute as well. This time dials up the teenager Ethan Bryant for his first professional score.
Yeah, Lance Lang, if he's on the scoreboard, he's on as a creator and a goal scorer. This time after his finish, he creates a great ball in for Ethan Bryant, but the take from Ethan Bryant really was fantastic.
Those goals were 7 minutes apart, and then finally in the 45th minute, after knocking on the door, well, Cardoni was able to hold off the attack from Seattle for a moment, but Adriel Gonzalez finally was able to put one past that back line.
See disappointing pressure, and then Darnell King looks as if he swings to try to clear that ball and just misses it altogether. Matt Cardoni, unsuspecting, can't make it over to his far post and keep that ball out.
So, of course, scoreline 2-1, but what other numbers stand out to you?
Well, I think for me, the possession of 54 versus 46, that's two really want to play, and they want to have the ball as much as they can. They've been pretty mistake-prone this evening, and SAFC have done a good job of capitalizing on that. The overall accuracy of service from 67% versus 80, a great example of some of the unforced errors that they've made. It's a young team. You're going to expect some of that. But SAFC, in terms of their overall play, to me, they just have to do a better job of connecting and staying supportive of each other and maintaining good shape on both sides of the ball.
If you're Seattle, I don't think you mind the aggressiveness of those 12 fouls with this young squad not being intimidated on the road, looking for Seattle's potentially first victory in the USL on the road this year. They are back within a goal, trailing 2-1 when we kick off the second half of play here on Fox Sports Southwest.
When it needs to be ultra exciting, high-flying, non-stop action, San Antonio FC Soccer's got you covered. When it needs to be high-performing, hard-working, high-tech, super safe, built for comfort, and surprisingly affordable, Holt Cat has got you covered. With best-in-class cat-heavy equipment, engines, generators, and more, plus legendary service and support, and the largest parts inventory and distribution network in Texas. Kick it into high gear with Holt Cat.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Time back here at Toyota Field on the north side of San Antonio, as SAFC with the first 2 goals of the night still keeping a postseason dream alive. They must capture 3 points tonight, as well as in each of their other 2 remaining home matches. These were the standings coming into this evening. You see 5 of the 8 playoff spots above that line have been clinched, but Swope Park, Reno, St. Louis, and this SAFC side, 4 teams. The problem is there's only 3 berths remaining in the West. SAFC on the outside looking in. And Swope Park Rangers, well, they have tonight off. We'll take a look at our scoreboard around the league. And the other two matches of interest will actually get started a little bit later on this evening as Reno squares off against Tulsa. And it should be an entertaining one between Phoenix and St. Louis.
Absolutely. And you see the math there on that last graphic, and you look at the points. Really what it comes down to, San Antonio's sitting on 43. They've got to get to 52, which means they've got to get all 9 of the next these next few matches. But the teams above them with games in hand and far higher up the table, they're really looking for a lot. But we know one thing, they have to win tonight. They came out, looked great in doing so in terms of the result and the way they were playing there, especially in the middle part of that first half, but not too great of a start and really a disappointing end to that half.
Well, right now, San Antonio doing what they need to do. 2 goals tonight, and that means Greg Cochran on the evening when he suits up for SAFC for a 100th time has a 2-1 lead to defend when we come back.
When it needs to be ultra exciting, high flying, non-stop action, San Antonio FC Soccer's got you covered. When it needs to be high performing, hard working, high tech, super safe, built for comfort, and surprisingly affordable, Holt Cat has got you covered. With best-in-class cat heavy equipment, engines, generators, and more, plus legendary service and support, and the largest parts inventory and distribution network in Texas. Kick it into high gear with Holt Cat.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we
Head over online to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer. Set to go for the second 45 minutes of play between San Antonio FC and Seattle Sounders FC 2. And, well, things got a little more interesting right around the 45th minute. Azriel Gonzalez was able to eliminate that clean sheet that Matt Cardoni in the back line of San Antonio posted, and it made this a ball game.
Yeah, letting that late goal in just in the closing minute of a half where you're really playing fairly comfortably into halftime and into the locker room changes the entire dynamics of the game, gives this young team a little bit of confidence to play off of.
As we have switched ends, want to remind you, USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league, including our matchup tonight, 24/7. You can follow at USL on Twitter. Darren Powell has his phone put away for the moment. I'm sure he's keeping up with the rest of the league otherwise. Final chance to run with Darren will be before the final home match of the regular season. His inspirational story you can find online. Shot from 20. And Cardoni keeps that ball 6 yards shy of the ultimate destination.
Pretty similar start here to the second half as they had to the first, giving up a quick early shot from S2 from 25 yards out, 30 yards out. Nothing too harmful. They've certainly not come out of the locker room with the sharpness that you would hope for.
And the captain Hopeo trying to level it here in the early going. Got a look there at Nick Hines. One of the few young men on this roster not born in the Great Northwest. He's on the opposite end over in Florida.
CSAFC continuing to not be sharp with a 70-yard ball out of bounds for a throw-in.
wouldn't be surprised if there's a few Dempsey jerseys in the crowd tonight. Of course, he grew up in East Texas in Nacogdoches. I won't pretend that is nearby, but it is the same state.
Talked in that first half about the central midfield three of SAFC having to be on the ball, spend more time on the ball, spend more time being part of the build-up. You see Pekka coming back there before that ball went out over the end line to try to start that build-up. Something I think they're going to have to do here in this first half, or excuse me, in the first part of the second half. And it's not just for this match. It's for continuing to play towards that playoff caliber that they're trying to get to. And as you said, ultimately book themselves a flight somewhere. That's the big #1 priority for them.
As excited as you are to play your final 3 matches in a playoff push at home, you know the reality is the only reason why you'll be boarding a plane again this year is if you have qualified for the postseason.
All right, Jose.
Been impressed with the resiliency of this S2 team. You can look at their schedule and see they haven't taken many points from the matches they've played. Sitting at 5-19-5 coming into tonight. But you've just seen them stay committed to what they're doing tonight. Mistake, no mistake, doesn't matter. They're just playing through it. And that's how you develop these young players. We talked about how well they've done and how well they're recognized for developing players. It's a big part of it. Teaching them a system, allowing them to play within that system.
Darnell King was able to buy the back line a little more time. And just a missed opportunity there for Seattle. As Nick Hines tried to get things going towards perhaps locating that second goal of the night for Seattle.
See Mike Seth here on the throw. Haven't mentioned his name much. Ball not really been on that right-hand side of defense too many times tonight.
You're a former defender in Major League Soccer. Did you want the broadcasters to mention your name very often?
As long as they were saying good things.
As this is sent over towards Guzman, still wants to track down the opportunity, but we'll get away from him.
You're getting your name mentioned if you're defending, and coming up with great tackles, or on the wrong end of those tackles, or if you're getting forward a lot. He really didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to get forward there around Escalante. We saw Cochran on the left-hand side a lot more frequently than Mike Seth.
I feel like it would be similar to an offensive lineman in American football, where chances are if they're saying your name, it's not for a good reason.
It's probably a pretty decent comparison, other than stature.
San Antonio defensively getting those black shirts back, but Seattle building with plenty of space out on the wing. Opportunity to level this one at 2 apiece.
Good defending there from Greg Cochran to get all the way back, get out to that outside in a 1-versus-1 situation, really with not a whole lot of cover, and was able to delay and allow time for that SAFC organization to get back underneath the ball.
Hines back to L, and now they'll reset through Castro. And Jacob Castro, only 1 match in the USL this year before tonight. Pekka. Lang. Free space in front of him, and perhaps too unselfish. Trying to reward Guzman for his efforts earlier tonight. But Lang had a lot of space to work with.
Good ball here from Pekka. Maybe a touch heavy just to keep Lang wide on that, but he does a great job of coming back across the 6-yard box. Ever Guzman overruns it just a touch and has to try to be creative with his trailing leg there. And just puts it by the near post. But a good opportunity here for SAFC.
Lang already a goal and an assist recorded tonight.
That just seems to be what he does. I think in 7 matches now, the 4 where he's been on the score sheet have been for a goal and an assist, if I'm not mistaken.
He provided an instant impact upon the loan from the USL side in Cincinnati That's how deep they have been this year, that he was seeing very minimal playing time. Talking about Lance Lang. Here is number 7. And they want a handball on Guzman. Won't get the call, but he also will not be able to find the back of the net. But a corner kick here for San Antonio, and you hope Guzman's okay.
You're going to see Greg Cochran here at the top of your screen. And his movement down that left-hand side just freezes that first defender to create enough space for Lance Lang to be able to play that ball into Cheno Guzman.
As he gets back to his feet, we remind you to stay up to date with all the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL social media channels. As Guzman will stay on for this corner kick brought to you by Circle K. As Darnell King and the captain Hopeo separated for a moment. Now the left boot of Lang. San Antonio still managed the first touch, but a subsequent flag up for an infraction on San Antonio.
Be calling offsides there on Guzman, who released off the goalkeeper.
And Guzman, although he's back on his feet, still clearly struggling. That right hip or that right rib cage.
This is a precarious situation sometimes as a manager you find yourself in. If you go into the locker room 2-0, you might be looking at being able to get a player like Guzman off the field in the earlier stages of this second half, avoiding injury, starting to think about next week's match.
Powell wants them in full attack mode here to take advantage of this opportunity. As our center official Laurent Varga would like them to expedite things here. Well, how well do you know the USL? You can test your knowledge on USLsoccer.com's weekly picks competition every week against the experts across the USL. Seth tried to feed Bryant inside the box. Now we'll retreat back to his defensive line. All 3 goals came in the opening half. It was the 19th minute that the first goal went on the board, Lance Lang. 7 minutes later, Ethan Bryant. But Agil Gonzalez would give Seattle some momentum going into the halftime break with his first goal on the year. Pekka directing traffic. Ball sent in, right at eye level, squeezed in, no mistake by Castro.
Overall better numbers here for SAFC, getting forward here in this final third of the field, not allowing S2 out. And there you see Vargas, not the first time he's been able to get the better of Greg Cochran there in a 1-versus-1 battle and turn the possession the other way. Been very good defensively in those extended outside areas along the touchline.
Young Leyva making his USL debut tonight. Called for the foul. A big day for him, of course. Tuesday, a historic day for soccer in all of North America as the United Soccer League unveiled their new branding identity and the streamlined structure that we will see for the USL Championship, USL League One, and USL League Two moving forward, as they'll all become a prominent part of the North American soccer landscape for next season. You can learn more about that evolution, again, announced just earlier this week on USLsoccer.com. As USL continues to grow the game here in the States.
Dangerous opportunity here. Nick Hines just found himself with Escalante there. Along this end line for SAFC, and a little bit too much contact, a little bit too much jersey in his hand. Gives SAFC a free kick. Again, this in-swinging ball, we talked about the in-swinger earlier from Lance Lang.
Well, Guzman has never completely overcome whatever ailed him earlier this half. Still favoring that right side. Again, still pending here for SAFC. Lance Lang will have a free kick. Might as well be a corner kick with the angle he will have. But right now, the concern for Guzman.
Yeah, he's just reaching at his right hip area. Not sure if it's up in the abdominal or right in the hip or maybe just right below.
Ever turned 30 back in March. Remember, last year joined in early August for a late playoff push. Quickly put together 5 goals down that stretch, including a game winner in stoppage time in the playoffs against Tulsa. It'd be the next week they'd be ousted in a shootout draw against OKC. And Guzman's night will be done as our first substitution for either team will be for San Antonio, and it's Kyle Murphy. Murphy, the New York native, saw his Clemson Tigers victorious in college football earlier today, despite losing their young quarterback. And Guzman will come off to an ovation. He was a big part of those 2 goals earlier back in the first half. As this was several minutes ago here in the second half. Took a knee right to that right side. No malicious intent.
You almost hope it was from the knee and not from the extension.
So Lang with the free kick, looking to that back post, and it gets away from him.
Not the ball Lance Lang wants from there. He's in such a good position because he's 2 yards off the end line, and his ability to whip the ball in, if he keeps that within range, it's just such a dangerous thing for the goalkeeper to have to deal with, something he's already shown to be a little bit uncomfortable with tonight.
So Seattle with another opportunity to level this match here on the road. Azriel Gonzalez, the lone goal scorer for S2, has been begging for the ball and finally has it. You almost feel like right now they're just remembering all those drills they have gone through each and every week this summer. As the toss from Vargas. Still a half hour to play. Now San Antonio has to avoid the same mistakes that cost Seattle in the first half on that back line. Ethan Bryant with a little boost of enthusiasm, leading the charge. Inside the 18, lays it off. As he was trying to get Kyle Murphy involved. Murphy, who joined SAFC back in May.
Well defended there from Nick Hines as Escalante tried to get the outside. Mike Seth now coming forward and ultimately winning a corner.
So a big opportunity for San Antonio to reclaim that insurance goal.
That was really a nice bit of play there from that group of SAFC players on the left-hand side. You saw Ethan Bryant pick up the ball as it came out. A clever bit of play up and over the top of the S2 defender. And then you see Lance Lang with a 65-yard run around the outside just to give him that extra bit of support. His ball into Kyle Murphy just a little bit in behind, and they couldn't create anything, but they've been able to keep it here in this end, which is so important in terms of continuing to create goals, and obviously they're not going to give anything away if it's down on this end.
Castro has his men organized, and he will not give Cyprian Hedrick a chance to play that ball at the top of the 6. And Ethan Bryant will be called for the foul for plowing over his counterpart.
Opeo there just trying to get himself into the attacking half. Ethan Bryant with That's an intelligent foul here. Make sure this didn't get any further than it did.
And you're going to have to see me after school.
Well, the alternative for Ethan Bryant there was to let him get by and ultimately be able to have open space for a counterattack. And they just cannot afford to concede another goal here tonight. So again, I think in the end he did the right thing there. The young player was a smart decision, a smart foul.
Again, San Antonio needs 9 points in their final 3 matches. No room for error. They got off to the right start tonight with the first 2 goals of the match. They have certainly not locked up the 3 points tonight. As a precision tackle, plucking that one off the boot of Lang. Now Lang might be a little hobbled. Hedrick. And look how determined to track down that ball Alec Diaz is in just his first start here in the USL. All these young men with plenty of energy to go the full 90 and go full speed, looking to make an impact. Hines. Daly playing on 1 yellow. And they will say this one's still in play. Thought it was going to be a tad too heavy.
Ulysses did a great job there, extending himself all the way to the end line to keep that ball in play and ultimately play what could have been a very dangerous ball.
Well, David Estrada will be the first adjustment off the bench for Seattle as he comes on for Marlon Vargas. Estrada, born in Mexico, raised in California, went to UCLA to play his college ball. Now 30 years old, one of the elder statesmen for Seattle and this system. He has been easily your leading goal producer with 10 scoring strikes this year. Spent the last couple of years with Charlotte Independence. He comes on and looks for an early impact for Seattle. Again, they are looking to level this one for the first time since the opening 19 minutes of play. Chipped in, and Seth will get the head on it. All the way back to Castro.
Stretching Ulysses out on that right-hand side. Every time the ball goes forward to him, it's really stretching him. S2 just can't quite seem to get that final ball. Can they? They're doing a really good job of exercising patience and being able to sustain possession and build through the first 2/3 of the field. And once they get in that final 30 yards of space, they just don't have the precision of service.
Unable to crack that back line of San Antonio is L down right now, but the foul on Seattle. Another look.
Lance Lang taking a few knocks here over the last few minutes.
Each team with 2 substitutions remaining. And do want to remind you, you can watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with the news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page. Find them at facebook.com/USL Soccer. I don't think anybody on Seattle's roster is old enough to know what a Facebook poke was.
Maybe I'm not savvy enough with Facebook, but I don't know what it is either.
Good. Seth.
Did you make that up?
No. And this is where San Antonio opportunistic with Love just for another miscue by Seattle's back line. And Darren Powell has been a great fit for this organization. Last year, really his first full preseason as this one whipped right in front of Castro, but nothing San Antonio could do with it. You know, they kind of hurried into that first year, did not have a chance to get in a full preseason. Still found success, but last year really were able to build up the way they wanted to, wind up as one of the hottest teams, thanks in part to their defense in all of the USL. This year, high expectations, despite quite a few losses, did have 15 returners. Throughout the years have been able to add a few more key pieces, including Lance Lang on loan from FC Cincinnati near the end of the summer. And of course, he's already made an impact tonight.
Switched him over here to the right-hand side. Jose Escalante now to the left.
Lance Lang, well-traveled through the USL, the former NASL. Been such a valuable man on set pieces as well as through the run of play. We've mentioned and seen tonight both a finisher and a man who can distribute. There's just a different kind of motor that runs inside him, and select other players as well that can really get an entire 11 going. Speaking of which, the other way here. Nice feed, looking for the equalizer, instead having to settle for a corner kick as that one's plucked off the boot of Alec Diaz.
A good counter here from S2. As Alec Diaz peels out that run to the left-hand side to create some space for that ball to come to the inside. Darnell King gets all the way across and gets a toe just to make sure that stays off frame.
They'll go short on this corner. Diaz cannot shake free of Bryant. And pardon me, that was Gonzalez who has the lone goal tonight for Seattle right before the half.
You see how willing S2 are to reset, come all the way back. Jesse Daly so many times received that negative service, gone back to the two center backs, and then rebuilt possession from there. A lot of their patience and commitment to their system.
Now out wide to Hines. And substitution now, second of the night, will bring on Ibrahim Usman. As the Nigerian will enter the match. And some parting feedback from his head coach, John Hutchinson. As the day is done for Nick Hines. Somehow Cochran still had the extra gear. Get back to that ball. All three goals came in the opening 45. And a foul outside of the 18. Free kick coming up for San Antonio. Murphy looking for a goal off the bench. And that will be should be a straight red. It is. Nobody but the goalkeeper Castro standing in Murphy's way, or at least so he thought.
See, they are trying to reset their possession, and just an errant ball yet again out of the back three between the two center backs and the goalkeeper on the night, giving SAFC such great opportunities. This is the second or third time here tonight where they've just had almost an unbelievable opportunity to go one on the keeper off of an unforced error.
L commits the foul. And Seattle will be down a man. And by rule, a red. As no other defender stood in the way of Murphy, with the exception of Castro in front. All the chatter you hear is along that back line, staying organized in front of Castro, trying to keep this just a one-goal match. Inside the final 20 minutes here tonight at Toyota Field. Lance Lang over the ball, about 19 yards out. What does he have in mind?
He's probably going to go to Castro's right.
Keeps it low and the wall comes through.
Interesting on a free kick there, a direct free kick. The S2 defender was able to block the ball from 3 to maybe 4 yards away from where the kick was taken.
Well, the loudest ovation you will hear tonight that does not have anything to do with a goal being scored will be that of this substitution. Not because so much Lance Lang is exiting with his goal and assist tonight, but it's the return of Mr. SAFC, Rafa Castillo. Plagued with injuries all throughout this summer. The man who helped bring a professional soccer championship to San Antonio years ago is back on.
I'm going to see Lance Lang here again. You just can't do that, ladies and gentlemen. That should have been taken back. And another opportunity to take that free kick. As you probably know, you've got to stay 10 yards from the location of the free kick until it's taken on a direct kick. SAFC players were right to argue in frustration, because that's a great goal-scoring opportunity there that the official just didn't quite get that correct.
Rafa turned 38 in June. Beautiful service from Castillo. Hedrick will come up about a foot shy of making this 3-1.
What a fantastic ball for Rafa Castillo's welcome to the match.
And Seattle not in the clear just yet. Rafa was thinking about Ethan Bryant, but Castro intervenes.
Castro with a good save there on that last ball in from Castillo onto the foot of Hedrick there on the far side. A great effort from Hedrick, but just a better one from Castro.
And again, a reminder, Seattle playing with just 10 men for the remainder of this match after the red card a moment ago. So not only do they trail a goal, but they are a man short. King looking to link up with Seth, but it's the Aussie who comes through to delay any kind of opportunity for San Antonio. And the final adjustment tonight for Seattle will come in the form of Francisco Narbon. As he comes on for Alec Diaz, who got his first start in the USL here tonight. I said Narbonne. It is in fact David Olson who comes in. Seattle native, played for Seattle University. Now in his second year with S2.
SAFC continuing to pressure here on the defensive side of the ball in their final third, trying to make it difficult for S2 to play out.
Rafa needs to be careful. That will not go unnoticed. And Rafa receives a yellow just to prove he was back in the lineup tonight. Well, you can sign up to Play Like the Pros, presented by Toyota. You'll be entered to win a chance to participate in Toyota Field Day with San Antonio FC players and coaches. To learn more, visit ToyotaFieldDay.com to enter. Again, that's ToyotaFieldDay.com. We won't hold you to the standard of some of these pros, like Rafa Castillo, eagerly anticipated return out there on the pitch. Again, we see him out there, and if I said that he was up against players half his age, my math still wouldn't be entirely correct.
Yet his energy is probably greater than most anyone else you're going to see play. He's so dynamic, so active. That's just the way that he plays every minute he's on the field. And as I said earlier, it's just great to see him back off of the injury from earlier in the season.
He was one of the first announced players by San Antonio back when they unveiled the badge prior to their first season of competing. Lopez. And ball in touch. Mikey with Major League Soccer on his resume with New York City FC for a couple of seasons. No urgency for San Antonio. They saw that 2-0 lead cut in half right at the end of the opening period of play. They've been able to fend off a subsequent goal from Seattle here in the second half. You can say the same about Seattle, keeping San Antonio scoreless here in the second 45.
SAFC have had a couple of chances. Not much fantastic. Maybe the save that Castro made off of Hedrick there on the far post being the best of the lot here in the second half. Both teams seeming to lack a little bit of quality there in the final third.
And another foul called. And Rafa is playing on a yellow. And that time just a verbal warning. Off the bench tonight, David Olsen draws the attention of 3 defenders for SAFC. S2 still looking for that equalizer. Castillo over the top, and the man with whom he was looking to hook up with, Kyle Murphy, slipped.
Kyle Murphy was asking for the contact against Jesse Daly. I'm not sure. I didn't see it myself. But a decent idea there from Castro to see if he can stretch in a 1v1 situation.
Gonzalez able to settle it inside. And Cardoni will never have that ball make it to his line as Cyprian Hedrick intervenes.
Some lackadaisical defending there in the 18-yard box from SAFC. Up a goal, cannot afford in any way, shape, or form to concede.
Hedrick over 100 games in his USL career. Included 3 years in Oklahoma City. And And Matt Cardone will wait until the wind conditions are just right before sending this one back in play. Don't want to interfere with that monarch butterfly migration that's coming through South Texas right now. No car windshield is safe on Interstate 35.
Certainly not yours, right?
I have quite a collection to take care of. As our most recent whistle. Lopez down right now. It's a match where Ever Guzman has already had to exit due to injury. As we will get another look.
They just come through the back of him there. Really no access to the ball. Not going to win that tackle, but he's trying to make sure Lopez isn't comfortable in possession.
Guzman coming off the bench for a second straight match for S2. Arnell King will send it back into play. Lopez back on his feet. And he'll slip away for a goal kick. Well, the man who wears the number in honor of Tim Duncan, Maxi Rodriguez. From right here in San Antonio, would play his college ball as a 49er for UNC Charlotte. And right now, a lecture, the only thing delaying his entry. Pekka will exit to allow for Maxi to come on. Second year in San Antonio for Pekka, the native of Rio de Janeiro. And he hopes what he has contributed to will be enough for a full 3 points tonight to keep San Antonio from acquiring one of those eliminated marks by their name in the USL West standings. And San Antonio flexes its depth. Again, they are playing up a man. No more substitutions left.
There's not a whole lot to the match right now. A little bit of off the ball stuff here and there. But neither team really looking to create anything. SAFC just trying to do what they can not to concede anything. Which sometimes is the worst posture to be in.
This will stay with San Antonio. Lincoln Rose, Lance Key, Anya Rosales with you here on Fox Sports Southwest. 2 matches guaranteed for San Antonio left here in 2018, both regular season contests, both of them here at home. If they board another plane this year, it'll be a good sign. It'll mean they are heading into the playoffs. And Lopez will be called for the foul this time. And he picks up a yellow. As he came swinging through with his right arm.
And Mikey Lopez lost the ball here after a heavy touch. In his effort to try to recover, looks as if he's going to stay out of it, and then is enticed ever so much by the side of the ball. Ultimately comes through the back of Daly. The right decision from the referee.
Daly, who picked up a yellow earlier tonight.
You see the style of S2 to get very expansive when they have the ball, even with 10 players, really stretching the SAFC defensive shape.
Right now, Ethan Bryant's first professional goal is standing up as your difference in this one. At the time, it made it 2-0. But the opening strike from Lance Lang has been matched in that 45th minute by Gonzalez. San Antonio FC just trying to hold on here for the final 4 minutes. Topeo will be in the vicinity, but unlikely to handle this one. San Antonio still not in the clear. Cardoni just punches it out. Has to retreat back to his line. And Cyprian Hedrick just right place, right time. As that ball found him.
In the wrong place, the right time. But
yep, I was debating which way to go with it. For the score line, they appreciate his efforts. The Australian sending it over the top. As Cochran will win this one. And a souvenir out to row 23. Greg Cochran, native of Holland, Pennsylvania. Former Virginia Tech Hokie, also spent some time as a Louisville Cardinal. Well, in case you've been enjoying this one tonight here on Fox Sports Southwest, we've got 5 additional minutes coming your way in stoppage time.
More than you paid for, right?
Still plenty of time for Lance Key to accumulate some yellows.
I think I might be the only one that doesn't have a yellow tonight.
Still time for Seattle to pull even. S2 still only 2 points this year on the road with a pair of draws. First year head coach, last year assistant, John Hutchinson. He's not entirely graded on wins and losses, but they are still significant to show results for the development of a lot of these talented young players, the future of the Sounders.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at evaluating based on results. Even when you're dealing with young players, it's obviously very, very important to be focused on the development of the individual within the group dynamic. But there's also a little bit to be said about developing that mentality, that winning mentality, and the culture of winning. You have to know how to win to be able to be successful in doing so, especially at the professional level. So make no mistake, they're not out every night just to say we got a little bit better. That's certainly one box they want to check, but they want to get as many points as they can as well.
Rafa thought about pulling the trigger from 40, will settle for 30. Castro has to intervene, sends it over the crossbar, a corner kick for San Antonio.
That's a classic Rafa Castillo strike from straight out, 30 yards, even forcing the big Jacob Castro to go up. That ball was dipping. It was definitely coming down under the crossbar had he not intervened.
The Colombian almost with another classic. His 5th year competing here at Toyota Field on behalf of San Antonio. Played for a couple of clubs here. A household name.
That's a great ball and a great run.
Lopez free. Tries to feed one in. Castro has the ball come up and bite him.
There you see a great example. Maxi Rodriguez with a vertical ball onto a diagonal run from Mikey Lopez.
Castro would never get a clean read on this. San Antonio still has not been able to find that 3rd goal.
Nice bit of combination there on the right-hand side. Kyle Murphy really just overran the near post. And he stayed onside there, did Kyle Murphy.
San Antonio up a man. Murphy denied by Castro. Open frame. San Antonio will take it. Maxi Rodriguez makes it 3-1 San Antonio.
Another moment of opportunism from SAFC.
That better be a bank shot in honor of number 21.
That's right. Carl Murphy did a great job of correcting his run to stay on side for Rafa Castillo. Castro does a good job of staying big. But Maxi Rodriguez makes no mistake about smashing that past any attempt to keep it out.
And with it, the hopes of playing in the postseason still alive for San Antonio.
A useful 10 minutes here for Maxi Rodriguez as he came on late. To be able to provide that kind of a strike late in the game at 2-1 to push it to 3. All but secure the 3 points for the night. But again, you see Rafa Castillo's involvement too in that build-up. He's just such a big part of the match when he's on the field. He makes a way to be heavily involved in just about everything good that goes on.
Castillo and Murphy helping make it all happen, as all three men who have come off the bench tonight critical in finding that late goal. Maxi, who made his professional debut in March of last season at RGV. And SAFC will have more and more opportunities for young men who grow up here in the Alamo City.
I never say enough about opportunity. When you're young, developing your trade, trying to become excellent at something, it's so important to have that opportunity. I'm so grateful for the youth in this city to have it, to go on and continue to play at the professional level here in front of their hometown.
Well, S2 has put up a fight for almost 95 minutes this evening on the road. They will not have any points to show for it this evening. San Antonio will stay at home. Matches against Las Vegas and RGV still remain. Las Vegas in town this next Saturday night. San Antonio must continue to do what they've done tonight. That's capture 3 points for each remaining match. As Cardoni will watch that one go wide. Final score tonight at Toyota Field. San Antonio FC, arguably already in a postseason push. They could not afford any outcome other than the full 3 points. 3 separate goal scorers for Darren Powell, including the professional opener for Ethan Bryant. He has the game winner tonight. So San Antonio's next match as the season continues next Saturday against Las Vegas Lights. Kickoff at 7:30 p.m. here in San Antonio. To keep up with the team on the road, you can follow San Antonio FC's social as well. For Lance Key, Anya Rosales, I'm Lincoln Rose. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our final from Toyota Field, SAFC 3, S2 1. This has been a presentation of the USL and Spurs Sports and Entertainment. And stand in front.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.